Thank you. Hello, everyone. Congratulations, USA, on behalf of our young adult. We have 22 years old Wildernessa Act of Finland. And that is very, very nice to have, after 22 years, some kind of analysis that which kind of young adult we do in Finland have. In Finland we have a world erämaa, which has very translated into English as wilderness, but it has very much cultural dimension, because it has been always the land where people went hunting and fishing and got livelihoods, and that is really the way of Finnish life, together with sauna, of course. Debate on Finnish wilderness started in 1950s, when was the first time that timber got value in the northernmost part of Finland. Planning process took place in 1980s and resulted finally 12 areas designated in 1991, and they covered almost 15,000 square kilometers, so quite a large area in north. And all these wilderness areas are managed by our agency, Metsähallitus Natural Heritage Services, together with other government-owned protected areas. And there are three equal objectives in our Wilderness Act. First of all, to protect the wilderness character of the area. Secondly, we have indigenous Sámi people to safeguard Sámi culture and traditional subsistence use. And also, it's important to develop the potential for diversified sustainable use of nature, which is the traditional use of nature, excluding timber and mining and other issues. When defining the borders for those areas, we take into account both cultural issues, natural issues, and the main idea was to create ecological entities. There were not strict regulations or rules what they exactly should look like. But when thinking about the management of these wilderness areas, it is notable that many other laws, especially relating to hunting, fishing, reindeer herding, off-road traffic, etc., regulate the management of these areas. The wilderness law itself prohibits these kind of heavy actions, mining, logging, and such kind of issues outside of those areas. And we can say that the major challenge for us has always been to find a balance between conservation and we can say that low intensity of this kind of use of natural resources relating reindeer herding, hunting, fishing, tourism, etc. And when think about these wilderness areas, they are not isolated areas from surroundings. There are many examples like this, where strict nature reserve is bordering the wilderness area, and wilderness area itself is bordering to Norway, where actually the same kind of wilderness or wilderness characters will continue. So it's really part of the much more bigger wilderness zone, we can say, including this Lapponia example what we saw this morning. Then a few words about this conservation point of view. These areas are definitely protected areas according to IUCN categories. Earlier we put and classified those as a category 6, but when the new guidelines was published, we started discussions in Finland and also with external foreign experts, and most likely we are now putting these in the wilderness category 1B, even though there is this kind of use of natural resources, but the scale for that use and intensity is very low. So we are we will make a final decision next year, but most probably it will be 1B. Then we have been talking a lot on Natura network and the importance of Natura in Europe. Finland joined EU in 1995, and after that we had to make a decision whether to include these wilderness areas as such into Natura network or not. And decision was to include there and not to change any regulations or practices. And we can say that Wildernessa Act is strong enough for protecting habitats and species according to directives. And it is quite clear at the moment that Natura decision has not caused and is not likely to cause any changes in wilderness area practices. Then management of those areas, of course, it's the privilege for us to do it together with people. Our agency has a long history on participatory planning. We have very many tools in use. We are members of Pan Parks family. We have used Europark tools for these issues. But when we are talking about these wilderness areas and management of those areas, it's a special question of these indigenous Sámi people and Sámi homeland. That is the specialty on the far north. And the status of Sámi was written into the Constitution in 1995, so it was later than this Wilderness Act was given. And at the moment we have 9,000 Sámi people in Finland, so there is more in Sweden and Norwegian, but more than 60% of the Sámi people live outside the Sámi homeland. And since 1996, Sámi have had constitutional self-government in Sámi homeland. It is their far north, but this is only as regards language and cultural issues, so it is not handling all possible issues in that Sámi homeland area. And what we are doing lately and developing within the last 5-6 years is how we apply and implement the CBD Article HJ with these Aquacon guidelines, where the key issue is how to take into account these traditional knowledge, innovations and practices as part of the impact assessment processes when making plans and implementing this kind of environmental actions in the area. Our Ministry of Environment set up a national group of experts in 2009 to find the way how Finland should apply these guidelines. And when we started to this Hammastunturi wilderness area management planning 3 years ago, we start to apply those guidelines and at the same time integrate it into our own management planning processes. And the key issue was there that Sámi Parliament appointed a special working group which were working parallel to our project group and also with steering group. And that working group supported all the time the whole planning process. And it has the special role to look at the implications of the management plan to land use practices on the point of view and of Sámi people. They also make this kind of evaluation of the values and also for the threats on the point of view Sámi cultural practices. And we can say that this was very good results. We got valuable information during the whole planning process. It was easy to recognize potential problems, and these Aquacon guidelines seems to be quite good tool when dealing with this kind of governmental agency and this cooperation with indigenous people. And last September, so only a few weeks ago, we made ready this publication where you can read more about this, how we applied this Aquacon in Finland. You can download it in our websites. And we have made a decision together with Ministry of Environment and Sámi Parliament that we will use in the future these guidelines in all management planning and natural resource planning in this Sámi people homeland. Okay, 22 years has passed since 1999 the areas has been established, and we can say that the core values as regards the nature, as regards wilderness, as regards cultural specialties on those wilderness areas, they are still there. So in that way we can say that this has been quite good success story. On the other hand, on the same time, we have to admit that we are facing the new problems all the time. There is new technologies, and especially this off-road traffic is the very difficult issue to handle in that area, and think which law and in which way it should be managed. This off-road traffic is related both this reindeer herding practices, and also it is very much the question of tourism and very much for the local people's way of having recreational time and fun. But overall picture has been quite good, and we are quite satisfied. We have specified problem 22 years ago. We made tailor-made solution for that problem, so we can be quite happy with this. Thank you.